the city that never sleeps. Beneath the vibrant tapestry, a steel serpent winds its way through the city's veins, the subway. On this night, an unremarkable Wednesday, destiny had a sinister appointment. The southbound platform bustled with the usual late-night crowd, weary commuters, giddy tourists, their faces illuminated by the harsh fluorescent lights. Among them, an unassuming group boarded the last train, their laughter echoing through the cavernous space. Unbeknownst to its passengers, this journey into the abyss would be their last. Back at the control center, a lone dispatcher manned the board, his eyes glued to the green blips representing each train on the network. The train, designated SB23, was now several minutes overdue. A bead of sweat trickled down the dispatcher's temple as he tried to establish communication. Static, only static answered his frantic calls. This was not routine. The control room, once a sanctuary of calm, buzzed with frantic activity. Emergency protocols rehearsed countless times were now jarringly real. Search parties were dispatched, their flashlights cutting through the oppressive darkness of the tunnels. Hour after agonizing hour, they scoured the labyrinthine network. The missing train, SB23, dominated the headlines, its disappearance as inexplicable as it was terrifying. Theories ran rampant, a catastrophic mechanical failure, an act of terrorism, even whispers of the paranormal. Families of the missing clung to hope, their faces etched with anguish and uncertainty. The train and its passengers had vanished without a trace, swallowed whole by the bowels of the city. The minutes crawled by like wounded animals, agonizingly slow, heavy with dread. On the southbound platform, the crowd thinned, their initial amusement at the delay curdling into unease. The air, thick with the metallic tang of ozone, seemed to crackle with unspoken fear. Whispers began to circulate, hushed and anxious like the rustling of dry leaves in a graveyard. Rumors spread like wildfire. A fire on the tracks, a power outage, a derailment. SB23, the train that promised to ferry its passengers home, had vanished into the very arteries of the city. The authorities, initially dismissive of the delay, now scrambled for answers. Security footage from the platform offered a tantalizing glimpse into the last known moments of SB23. Passengers, their faces obscured by the grainy footage, boarded the train, oblivious to the nightmare that awaited them. Then, silence. Deeper in the tunnels, investigators uncovered something far more unnerving, a faint, garbled distress call picked up by a trackside sensor. A chorus of screams, cut short, echoing in the darkness. Each unanswered question, each dead end, only deepened the mystery, fueling the growing sense of unease that had gripped the city. Above ground, the city that never sleeps found itself unable to escape the nightmare unfolding beneath its bustling streets. News of the missing train spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of fear and speculation. The heart of the metropolis, usually pulsating with an untamable energy, seemed to skip a beat, a collective gasp of fear rippling through its inhabitants. The subway, once a symbol of the city's relentless progress, now represented a chilling descent into the unknown. Ridership plummeted, replaced by an atmosphere of apprehension. The city watched, listened and waited, clinging to the hope of a miracle. The investigation, sprawling and complex, began in earnest. Detectives, their faces drawn, pored over blueprints of the subway system, searching for any anomaly, any clue that could explain the train's inexplicable disappearance. Forensic teams, clad in white, combed through the subterranean labyrinth, their flashlights cutting through the oppressive darkness, searching for any trace of SB23 or its passengers. The mayor, his face etched with concern, addressed the city, promising a swift and thorough investigation. But behind his words, a chilling truth lingered. They were searching for a needle in a haystack, a ghost train in a city of shadows. The mystery of SB23 had become a puzzle that demanded to be solved. Days bled into weeks, the relentless search for SB-23 becoming a macabre ballet of hope and despair. Search and rescue teams, their faces etched with grim determination, scoured every inch of the sprawling subway system. Dogs, trained to detect the faintest scent of life, sniffed at the cold, damp air, their whimpers echoing through the tunnels. Divers, their movements slow and deliberate in the murky water of flooded sections, emerged empty-handed. The investigation expanded outward, encompassing the entire subway network. The faces of the missing, once anonymous commuters now stared out from missing posters plastered across the city. The investigation, once a beacon of hope, began to resemble a ship lost at sea, tossed about ends and false leads. Every promising avenue, every glimmer of a breakthrough, ultimately led to a wall of silence. Tips poured in from across the city and beyond, a homeless man, the train's ghostly rumble deep beneath the streets, a psychic insisting she could see the passengers trapped in a parallel dimension. Each claim, investigated with a mixture of skepticism and desperate, under scrutiny. The families of the missing, their anguish palpable, clung to the hope that their loved ones were still alive, trapped somewhere in the labyrinthine network. But as days turned into weeks, the silence, their hope slowly eroding. As the official investigation floundered, whispers of conspiracy began to circulate, spreading like a virus through the city's veins. The internet, a breeding ground for speculation and conjecture, became a hotbed of conspiracy theories. Bloggers and armchair detectives, fueled by a mixture of genuine concern and a thirst for the macabre, spun elaborate narratives. Some whispered of a government cover-up, a sinister experiment gone wrong, the train and its passengers snatched from reality itself. Others spoke of ancient curses, subterranean creatures, the subway a gateway to a dark and unforgiving underworld. The city, once united in its grief, now found itself fractured, suspicious, haunted by the possibility that the truth was far more sinister than anyone dared to imagine. The city, once a symphony of noise and light, seemed to shrink under the weight of the unknown. The subway, once a symbol of its vibrant pulse, now served as a constant reminder of the fragility of life, the ever-present possibility of sudden and inexplicable loss. The fear, once a whisper, now lingered in the air like a noxious gas, seeping into the cracks of everyday life. Parents held their children a little tighter, lovers whispered reassurances, commuters avoided eye contact, their faces reflecting a shared sense of vulnerability. The media, initially relentless in its pursuit of the story, gradually moved on, their cameras seeking out fresh tragedies. The subway to nowhere had become more than just a missing train. It had become a scar on the city's soul. The disappearance of SB-23 ignited a firestorm of speculation, dividing the city into camps of belief and disbelief. On one side stood the Rationalists, their faith rooted in logic and empirical evidence. Engineers meticulously analyzed the aging infrastructure of the subway system, searching for any structural weakness. Geologists studied the city's subterranean topography, searching for signs of a previously undetected fault line. Their theories, grounded in science and reason, offered a glimmer of hope in the face of the unimaginable. Perhaps a sinkhole, a sudden and catastrophic collapse of the Earth itself, had opened up beneath the train. The Rationalists, their faith in logic shaken but not broken, were forced to confront a chilling possibility: that some mysteries defy explanation. While the Rationalists clung to logic, another faction emerged from the shadows, drawn to the mystery of SB-23 like moths to a flickering flame. These were the Supernaturalists, their beliefs rooted in the ancient lore of the city. For them, the train's disappearance was not a tragedy but a revelation, a sign that the veil between worlds had thinned. Psychics and mediums claimed to have made contact with the missing passengers, their spirits trapped in a spectral limbo. Paranormal investigators, armed with EMF readers and infrared cameras, descended into the subway system, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous spaces. If the train and its passengers had been spirited away by supernatural forces, then perhaps there was still hope, however slim, that they could be returned. As days turned into weeks and the official investigation yielded no answers, a third faction emerged, their ranks swelling with each passing hour of silence from the authorities. These were the conspiracy theorists, their minds hardwired to see patterns in chaos, to connect the seemingly unconnected. They dismissed the rational explanations as deliberate misdirection, the supernatural theories as a convenient distraction from a far more sinister truth. For them, the disappearance of SB-23 was not an accident, nor an act of God, but a deliberate act, a carefully orchestrated event carried out by forces unknown, their motives shrouded in secrecy. They whispered of secret societies and government cover-ups, of shadowy organizations operating beyond the reach of the law, their agendas hidden from the public eye. Some pointed to the train's cargo manifest, its contents strangely vague, its destination a nondescript warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Others fixated on the backgrounds of the missing passengers, convinced they were not who they seemed, their lives intertwined in a web of espionage and intrigue. Their theories, often outlandish and always unverifiable, nevertheless struck a chord with a public increasingly disillusioned with the official narrative. In the absence of concrete answers, conspiracy offered a seductive alternative, a way to impose order on chaos, to find meaning in the seemingly meaningless. As the city grappled with the mystery of SB-23, a palpable tension settled over its inhabitants, a collective holding of breath. The subway, once a symbol of the city's interconnectedness, now served as a stark reminder of the fragility of their existence, the ever-present possibility of sudden and inexplicable loss. The rhythm of the city, once a frenetic symphony of noise and motion, seemed to falter, its heartbeat skipping a beat with each passing day that the train remained missing. The laughter on the street seemed a little less carefree, the conversations a little more subdued, the shadows a little longer. The city that never sleeps found itself haunted by the spectre of the unknown, the unsettling possibility that some questions have no answers, that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. And so they waited, their collective breath held hostage by the silence from below, their fate intertwined with the ghost train that had vanished into the heart of their city. Years passed. The city learned to live with the scar of SB-23, the phantom train forever etched in its collective memory. The missing posters, once ubiquitous, faded to pale ghosts, clinging to telephone poles and subway walls, testaments to lives left unfinished. The families, forever bound by their shared loss, held annual vigils, their candles flickering tributes in the face of an enduring darkness. The official investigation, after countless dead ends and a public outcry for answers, had long since gone cold. The case files, gathering dust in a forgotten corner of police headquarters, represented not just a failure to solve a mystery, but a failure to offer solace, a failure to bring closure. But in the hushed halls of the city's archives, a glimmer of hope ignited. A young archivist, her eyes bright with the thrill of discovery, unearthed a long-forgotten box of microfiche, its contents mislabeled, its significance overlooked for decades. The box, she soon realized, contained blueprints, not just of the existing subway system, but of a secret network of tunnels long since decommissioned, their existence erased from official records. As the grainy images flickered to life on the screen, a chill ran down her spine. These forgotten tunnels, she realized, intersected with the path of SB-23, offering a tantalizing possibility, a chance to reopen the case, a chance to finally uncover the truth. Section 2, The Whistleblower. The archivist, bound by duty and justice, couldn't ignore what she found. The city buried secrets deep, guarded by those in power. She needed an ally, someone with nothing left to lose. She found a grizzled reporter, his career a casualty of truth. Now he penned obituaries, his days a blur of stale coffee. He listened, sensing a career-defining story, a chance for redemption. The reporter felt a surge of adrenaline, the thrill of the chase. He knew the risks, but the story was too tempting. Together, They embarked on a perilous journey to expose the truth. They knew they were being watched, but some secrets were too important to remain hidden. Section 3. The Tunnels of Truth. Armed with a flashlight and a map, the reporter and the archivist ventured into the city's underbelly. The air was thick with decay and secrets. Every echoing drip and rustle sent shivers down their spines. They walked in the footsteps of ghosts, their mortality stark in the silence. The tunnels closed in, the city above a distant memory. Shadows danced at the edge of their vision. They found evidence of the missing train, a shattered headlight, a child's shoe. SB-23 had been deliberately steered off course. But why? And by whom? The answers lay further ahead. Their quest for truth led them deeper into the city's hidden underbelly. News of the reporter and the archivist's investigation, whispered in hushed tones, spread through the city's underbelly like wildfire. Their actions had disturbed a hornet's nest, awakening forces that had long lay dormant, their motives shrouded in shadow. Unseen eyes followed their every move, their footsteps echoing not just through the tunnels, but through the corridors of power. Those responsible for the disappearance of SB-23, for the city's enduring silence, were growing restless, their grip on their carefully constructed reality beginning to slip. The reporter received a phone call, the voice on the other end distorted, a chilling blend of menace and warning. "Turn back," it hissed. "Some secrets are best left buried." But the warning, intended to intimidate, only strengthened their resolve. They'd come too far, uncovered too much to turn back now. The clock was ticking. They knew they were running out of time, that the truth once exposed would shatter the city's fragile peace, but they also knew they had a responsibility to the missing, to the families who had waited for answers for far too long. The deeper they delved, the more they realized that the fate of SB-23 was inextricably linked to the soul of the city itself, a city teetering on the brink of revelation and reckoning. The air crackled with tension, each footstep echoing like a thunderclap in the confined space. The reporter and the archivist had stumbled upon a truth too terrible to ignore, a secret buried deep beneath the city's glittering facade. They were confronting a conspiracy that stretched to the highest levels of power, a conspiracy that had swallowed SB-23 and its passengers whole. The evidence pointed to a chilling reality. SB-23 had been a pawn in a deadly game. The train had been deliberately diverted into the abandoned tunnels. But the city was awakening. The reporter and the archivist had become unwitting catalysts, threatening to unravel the web of power and deceit. Their findings ignited a firestorm. The city now grappled with a truth far more unsettling, that the monsters beneath their streets were flesh and blood. The city, once a symbol of order and progress, teetered on the precipice of chaos. Protests erupted, fueled by years of suppressed anger and a thirst for accountability. Politicians, their carefully crafted facades crumbling, scrambled to distance themselves from the scandal, their denials ringing hollow in the face of irrefutable evidence. The investigation, resurrected from the ashes of official indifference, became a public spectacle, a courtroom drama played out on a national stage. One by one, the architects of the conspiracy were exposed. Corrupt officials, greedy corporations, their complicity a betrayal of the public trust. But even as justice was served, a profound sense of unease lingered, a chilling realization that some wounds run too deep to ever truly heal. The city, forever marked by the tragedy of SB-23, was forced to confront the darkness that lay at its heart. The subway, once a symbol of interconnectedness, now represented a descent into the abyss. A reminder that even in the heart of civilization, monsters lurked, their shadows stretching long and cold. The city learned to live with its ghosts, their presence a constant ache, a reminder of the fragility of truth and the enduring power of deceit. The subway to nowhere, once a mystery, had become a scar on the city's soul, a testament to the enduring human capacity for both good and evil. The subway to nowhere, a chilling whisper, a haunting reminder of a city's darkest secret. The train, SB-23, though its fate now known remained a phantom. Its presence felt in the shadows, its story told and retold in hushed tones. The tunnels, once a place of bustling anonymity, now held an unsettling power, their darkness whispering tales of loss and betrayal. Commuters, their faces etched with a newfound awareness, glanced nervously into the darkness, their minds conjuring images of the missing, their laughter silenced, their dreams forever derailed. The city above, though scarred, continued to function, its rhythm a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. But beneath the surface, the memory of SB-23 lingered, a ghost train forever travelling through the arteries of the city, a haunting reminder that some truths are too terrible to forget.